Metaphysics Unraveled. Exploring the nature of reality. What is reality, and how do we know it's real? In the next 15 minutes, we're diving into metaphysics, philosophy's mind-bending quest to uncover the truth behind existence itself. Welcome to episode 8 of our 10-part Philosophy Basics series, where we're exploring the deepest questions about the universe and our place in it. If you've been with us, you've tackled what philosophy is, its core branches: critical thinking, the philosophy-science connection, logic and argumentation, the history of philosophy, and ethics. Today we're venturing into metaphysics, asking, what is the world made of? Are we more than matter? Does reality exist outside our minds? Get ready to question everything. Let's jump in. So what is metaphysics? At its core, metaphysics is the branch of philosophy that investigates the nature of reality. It goes beyond what we can see, touch, or measure, asking fundamental questions about existence, objects, time, space, causality, and even God. While science tells us how the universe works, metaphysics asks why it exists at all, and what it's really made of. It's like peeling back the layers of the world to find out what's truly there. Or if there is even a thing. From everyday wonders like why you exist to cosmic puzzles like the nature of time, metaphysics challenges us to rethink reality itself. Why does metaphysics matter? Because it shapes how you understand the world and your place in it. Are you just a collection of atoms? Or is there a soul or consciousness beyond your body? Is the universe governed by fixed laws? Or is it all random? These questions aren't just for philosophers. They influence science, religion, and even how you make sense of life's big moments, like love, death, or purpose. By exploring metaphysics, you'll sharpen your ability to think deeply and question assumptions. Whether you're pondering your existence or debating the mysteries of the cosmos. Let's start with the big questions metaphysics tackles. One of the oldest is, what is being? This sounds abstract, but it's about what it means to exist. For example, a rock exists, you exist, and maybe ideas like love or justice exist. But in what way? Are physical objects the only real things, or do non-physical things like numbers or souls have their own kind of existence? This question, called ontology, is the heart of metaphysics. It's about figuring out what's fundamentally real. Another key question is, what is the nature of objects? This is where metaphysics gets practical. Take a chair. It's made of wood, has 4 legs, and you can sit on it. But what makes it a chair? Is it the materials, the shape, or the fact that we use it for sitting? If you break it into pieces, is it still a chair? Philosophers like Aristotle tackled this by distinguishing between substance, the core stuff of a thing, and accidents, its changeable features like color or size. These ideas help us understand not just chairs but everything from humans to stars. Then there's the question of time and space. Is time a real thing that flows, or just a way we measure change? Is space an empty container for objects, or something more? These questions aren't just philosophical. Physicists like Einstein grappled with them, showing how metaphysics and science intersect. For example, Einstein's theory of relativity suggests time and space are interconnected, bending under gravity. Metaphysicians ask, does this mean time is an illusion, or is it a fundamental part of reality? Causality is another big one. We assume events have causes. If you drop a glass, it breaks because of gravity and impact. But what is causality? Is it a real force in the universe, or just a pattern we observe? David Hume, an 18th-century philosopher, argued that we can't prove causality. We just see one event follow another and assume a connection. This shook metaphysics, raising questions about how we know the world works. It's also practical. If causality isn't real, how do we predict the future or make decisions? Let's dive into some core metaphysical debates to see these questions in action. One of the biggest is materialism versus idealism. Materialism says everything that exists is physical: atoms, energy, matter. Your thoughts, emotions, even consciousness are just brain processes. Idealism, championed by thinkers like George Berkeley, argues the opposite. Reality is fundamentally mental. The physical world exists only as ideas in our minds, or in a universal mind, like God's. Berkeley's famous line was, "To be is to be perceived." If a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? For an idealist, it might not even exist. This debate sounds wild, but it's practical. If materialism is true, things like free will or the soul might just be illusions, reducible to brain chemistry. If idealism holds, consciousness could be the foundation of reality, opening up possibilities for spirituality or non-physical realms. Most modern scientists lean toward materialism, but metaphysicians keep the debate alive, especially as we explore consciousness and quantum physics, where the role of observation blurs the line between mind and matter. Another debate is realism versus anti-realism. Realism says the world exists independently of our minds. There's a reality out there, whether we perceive it or not. Anti-realism argues that reality depends on our perceptions, language, or concepts. For example, is time real, or just a human way of organizing experience? Immanuel Kant took a middle path, saying we can't know reality as it is, the thing in itself, because our minds shape what we perceive through frameworks like time and space. This debate matters because it affects how we trust science, art, or even our senses. Free will versus determinism is another hot topic. Determinism says everything in the universe, including your choices, is determined by prior causes: physics, biology, environment. If you chose coffee this morning, it was because of neural signals shaped by your genes and past experiences. Free will argues you have genuine control over your actions, independent of those causes. This debate isn't just academic, it affects morality and law. If we're not free, can we be blamed for crimes? Philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre, an existentialist, insisted we're radically free, bearing full responsibility for our choices, while others, like Baruch Spinoza, lean toward determinism, seeing freedom as understanding necessity. Let's explore the mind-body problem, one of metaphysics' most enduring puzzles. Are your mind and body separate things, or one and the same? Dualism, championed by René Descartes, says the mind, consciousness, thoughts, is non-physical, distinct from the physical body. This fits with ideas of a soul or afterlife. Monism, like materialism, says mind and body are one. Your thoughts are just brain activity. A third view, panpsychism, suggests consciousness is everywhere, even in particles, making mind a fundamental part of reality. This debate is alive today, as neuroscientists study consciousness and AI researchers ask if machines could ever think. History gives us context for these debates. In ancient Greece, metaphysics began with thinkers like Parmenides, who argued that reality is unchanging and eternal, versus Heraclitus, who said everything is in flux. You can't step in the same river twice. Plato's theory of forms was a metaphysical blockbuster, claiming true reality is a perfect, non-physical realm of ideas, not the flawed world we see. Aristotle grounded metaphysics in the physical, studying substances and causes, laying the groundwork for science. In the medieval period, metaphysics merged with theology. Thomas Aquinas used Aristotle to argue for God's existence, proposing metaphysical proofs like the first cause argument. Everything has a cause, so there must be an uncaused cause, God. Islamic philosophers like Avicenna explored being and necessity, influencing both East and West. These thinkers saw metaphysics as the bridge between reason and faith, asking how the universe aligns with the divine order. The early modern period shook things up. Descartes' dualism and his quest for certainty, I think therefore I am, made metaphysics central to philosophy. John Locke and George Berkeley debated the nature of objects, with Locke leaning toward material realism and Berkeley pushing idealism. David Hume's skepticism about causality and perception challenged metaphysical claims, urging humility about what we can know. Kant's revolutionary idea that our minds shape reality shifted metaphysics toward epistemology, blending the study of reality with the study of knowledge. In the 19th century, George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel saw reality as a dynamic process, driven by dialectical conflicts resolving into progress. His metaphysics influenced Marxism and existentialism. Arthur Schopenhauer took a darker view, arguing that reality is driven by a blind, irrational will, with human existence caught in its grip. These ideas pushed metaphysics toward questions of meaning and human experience. The 20th century split metaphysics into two camps. Analytic philosophers like Bertrand Russell and Willard Van Orman Quine focused on language and logic, asking how we describe reality. Is time just a word, or does it point to something real? Continental philosophers, like Martin Heidegger, took a more existential approach. Heidegger's question, "Why is there something rather than nothing?" reframed metaphysics as a meditation on being itself. His work influenced postmodernism, which questions whether we can access objective reality at all. Today, metaphysics tackles cutting-edge issues. In philosophy of mind, thinkers like David Chalmers explore consciousness, asking why we have subjective experiences at all, the hard problem of consciousness. In cosmology, metaphysicians work with physicists to ponder the multiverse or the nature of dark matter. In technology, questions about virtual reality and AI raise metaphysical puzzles. Is a digital world real? Can a machine have a mind? These show metaphysics isn't stuck in the past, it's vital to our future. Let's apply metaphysics to everyday life. Think about your identity. Are you the same person you were 10 years ago? Your cells have changed, but you feel like you. Metaphysicians like Derek Parfit explore personal identity, asking if it's tied to your body, memories, or something else. This matters for practical questions, like how we treat aging, cloning, or even mental health. Or consider time. When you plan your future, do you assume time is linear or could it loop? Metaphysical reflection helps you question these assumptions, enriching your decisions. Here's a classic thought experiment. The ship of Theseus. Imagine a ship where every plank is replaced over time. Is it still the same ship? What if the old planks are reassembled into a second ship? Which is the real one? This puzzle probes the nature of identity and change, applying to everything from objects to people. Try it yourself. What makes you you over time? Your answers reveal your metaphysical instincts. Metaphysics also intersects with science. Quantum mechanics, where particles seem to change based on observation, raises questions about reality's independence from the mind. Is the universe deterministic, or does quantum randomness give room for free will? Philosophers like Nick Bostrom even ask if we're living in a simulation, a metaphysical idea gaining traction as we build virtual worlds. These questions show how metaphysics pushes science beyond data to meaning. Let's address a common objection. Isn't metaphysics just navel-gazing, too abstract to matter? Some say we should stick to science, which gives concrete answers. But metaphysics asks questions science can't, like why the universe exists or what consciousness is. Even scientists rely on metaphysical assumptions, like the idea that reality follows consistent laws. By clarifying these foundations, metaphysics strengthens science and helps us navigate questions of purpose and existence that data alone can't solve. Another objection. How can we know anything about reality when we're stuck in our minds? Skeptics like Hume argue we're limited to perceptions, not reality itself. Metaphysicians counter that we can use reason, logic, and evidence to build plausible theories, even if they're not certain. Metaphysics isn't about final answers. It's about better questions, pushing us closer to truth. Here's a practical challenge. Pick one metaphysical question, say, is time real? Or do I have free will? And spend a day noticing how it shapes your choices. Do you act like time is fixed, or do you feel free to change your path? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how it changes your perspective. As we wrap up, think about this. Metaphysics is philosophy's boldest adventure, daring to ask what reality really is. It doesn't solve every puzzle, but it equips you to explore the universe with curiosity and clarity. In our next episode, we'll dive into epistemology, the study of knowledge, how we know what we know. If you're excited, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Drop a comment. What's one thing you've always wondered about reality? Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in episode 9.